What's good, everyone? Jets take off. The Jets are at the bye week, and we are 6-3. Something no one expected except for the coin flip prediction that's going viral on Twitter. But we've made it so far, and we have a lot of injuries. But the Jets just beat the Buffalo Bills, definitely our biggest win of the year. But it's the bye week now, and it's time to take a look at the second half of our schedule. So, how is it going to look out for the Jets? Is it going to be easier, or is it going to be harder? Looking at it now and before filming, I think our schedule is going to get a lot harder the second half. And I know that sounds outlandish when I list some of the teams, but a lot of these teams we're going to be playing have been playing very good football lately. First, the Patriots. In New England, they've had our number forever. Pretty much they own us. And especially in Foxborough, Jets quarterbacks have struggled there. The only one that really succeeded was Sanchez in the divisional round, but this is a game we have to win. Listen, the Jets players, they're all looking forward to this game. This is, if we beat the Patriots in New England, this might be our biggest win, even over the Buffalo Bills, but the Patriots just find a way to take away the football whenever we play them, and that's something we can't do. It's a tough matchup against New England. Belichick knows how to scheme against young quarterbacks like Zach Wilson, who are prone to turnovers, and they've just had our number. They got a great running game, and they match up very well against us, so that's a tough game, especially in Foxborough, but it's going to be one that is going to be really exciting, but we definitely have to win that game, and also win some more divisional games too, because we have a good amount coming up. Now, after them, we're playing Chicago at home. Normally, we'd think this is going to be an easy victory. The Bears look legitimate right now. Justin Fields is developing into a franchise quarterback. He's playing outstanding football. I mean, he just ran all over the Miami Dolphins, broke the single-game rushing record for a quarterback. They added Chase Claypool now, so their offense is very dynamic, and they have two starting caliber running backs in Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery. Do not take the Bears lightly. This is a game we could very well potentially lose. Even though it's at MetLife, they're extremely well coached with Eberflus. Do not sleep on the Bears. This is another tough game that, when we look at the schedule, or when we did look at the schedule back before the season started, we'd be saying, oh, we should probably beat them. It might not be the case. That is a potential trap game, but the Bears are a great football team that are really starting to mold into an identity. So they are not a force to be reckoned with. We should not take them lightly. And then we play the Vikings right after them in Minnesota. The Jets have won on the road this season, which is something we haven't seen before, but will continue. The Vikings are a pretty good football team. They're 7-1 for a reason. Now, are they super legitimate or a Super Bowl contender? That's up for debate if you look at their schedule, but they're still a formidable foe. They have a lot of dynamic playmakers on that offense, and their defense has really been playing well this season too, so that's not a game that is just a lock. I mean, it's probably one of our tougher games. It's probably the second toughest game on our schedule in the second half, but it's also one that if we win and walk into Minnesota and surprise all of the NFL world and beat them and potentially hand them their second loss of the season, it would be a pretty big statement for this Jets squad that is won on the road this season. The very next game is our toughest of the rest of the year, without a doubt, at Buffalo. Buffalo, we got their number this past time, but they were dealing with some injuries. We have injuries for ourselves too, so that's why I'm not really using the injury excuse, but the Bills are still a great team. They're going to be looking a lot healthier in Buffalo with crazy conditions. We don't know. They're obviously the best team in the NFL right now from a pure talent perspective. Buffalo's a rough environment. Can Zach Wilson overcome that when they are going to... The Bills will stop the run. They have the film from this past game on how we beat them. The Bills, they're extremely well coached. They will take away most of the things that we did right and how we beat them. So we're going to have to overcome that, make some coaching adjustments. But can we do that in Buffalo in Week 14? And those four games that I just listed, the Patriots, Chicago, Minnesota, and Buffalo, that's by far our toughest stretch of the second half, in my opinion. And this comes right after the bye. So these four games are really going to matter most. I say if we can win at least two of those games, we'll be in good standing. If we win two of those games, we'll be 8-5. That sounds pretty good to me, and I'll take that. So that's definitely the hardest part of this second half schedule, in my opinion. But I think it gets a little bit easier. After the Buffalo game, Week 15, we play Detroit. I still believe that Detroit is a very underrated team, even though the wins aren't there. They have a lot of talent, and I still like their coaches. But that is looking like a more winnable game as we progress into the season. It's one that we should win, to be honest, if we are 8-5 by that point. After that, we play the Jaguars at home. It'll be interesting to see how the Jaguars do because they had a nice victory over the Raiders, but they have been very inconsistent this season. But it's always primetime games are always down to the wire. I feel like it's never really a blowout unless if it's one superior team versus one inferior team. But I mean, even the Texans were competing with the Eagles on it, so don't be surprised if the Jaguars give us a little bit of trouble in that game. It could be a loss. It's a game I want to see for myself. Week 17 at Seattle. This is going to be another tough game. No one predicted the Seahawks to be this good, but Geno Smith is playing like an MVP right now. He should be winning Comeback Player of the Year right now. Just give him the award. But that Seahawks team, that team has a lot of fight. The defense is showing up. Tariq Woolen, underrated rookie as hell. The offense is clicking. The Seahawks are just rolling right now, and they're proving all the doubters and haters wrong after trading away Russell Wilson. And Seattle is notoriously one of the toughest places to play for a quarterback because of how loud it gets out there. And now that their team is legit, their fans will be packing the stadium even more. Might be max capacity crowd, so that's going to be a really rough game in a road environment for the Jets. See if they can beat them. And then we end the season at Miami. Miami's going to look for some vengeance after we did put a 40-piece on them in the last game, but overall, that's our schedule. I think it is a lot harder than most fans expect, and there is a scenario where we lose pretty much every one of these games. I think Detroit is maybe the one game where I think we should win, but I can see a scenario where we lose to the Patriots. Absolutely. I can see a scenario where the Bears play upset. It should not happen, but I can see it being a trap game potentially. The Bears are clicking at Buffalo. Obviously, that's a very tough challenge and an extremely tough team to beat. You have to not beat yourself, and we'll see if the Jets don't beat themselves like they did this past time. That's going to be hard to repeat. Versus the Vikings, away. We'll see what happens there. 7-1 football team, only one loss on the season right now. Detroit, we should win. Jaguars, it's a primetime game. We should win that. I'll coop it in with Detroit. It's a game we should not lose. At Seattle, I could see us losing. That's going to be a tough game. And then at Miami. But realistically, the Jets need to win at least 3 of those games to have a shot at the playoffs. Right now we're in the playoffs, but this schedule is going to get a lot harder. But it's a great thing we have the bye right now so the players can rest up, get healthy. We'll get some key players back off of injured reserve like George Fant and potentially Max Mitchell to help bolster this Jets team that has suffered some sad losses like Elijah Vera Tucker and Breece Hall. But let me know, Jets fans. In my opinion, the second half schedule is nothing to scoff at. There are some very good teams that we will be playing and some teams with some fight that are starting to click. Now, as we've approached the midseason mark, teams are really starting to create an identity. Let's see if the Jets continue to create their identity. So let me know what you think. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.